Who do we have in studio, Greg?
Oh, look who we have.
We have Claude Zdanow. Come on. Now, is it Zdanow? Is it Zdanow? Or is it Claude, can you buy me a vowel? Z is what we like to call him. Michael, would you like to do the introduction, please?
CEO of Onar Holding Corporation, of course, their ticker symbol ONAR.
You don't want to start, first of all, great to have you in studio.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for flying the YPO colors, if you know what I mean. You do. The last time you were on the air, I got a bunch of email about, and this is interesting about the show. It's been on for almost 30 years. We have the highest technical trader that understands moving average, convergence, divergence, stochastic oscillators, relative strength indicators, and they understand everything about the market. We also have Johnny Lunchbucket, some of our military audience, that doesn't know what it means when I say the Dow's up, Dow's down, so on and so forth. What is the Dow? You talked about a holding company. I got those emails last week. What's a holding company? So before we get to your company, the labs, the marketing technology, everything, as a CEO of a public company, what is a holding company top down?
Yeah, look, holding company, just fancy way of saying a business that owns a bunch of other businesses, right? For us, that means specifically technology, marketing-focused businesses, and we're in 3 different sectors, the 2 biggest being digital and healthcare. But it just means we kind of own and operate those businesses within a larger platform, and there's benefits to doing that.
Is this what you and I used to call vertical integration? Where you're buying businesses that help other businesses?
Yeah, well, so that's part of our M&A strategy. Part of the acquisition strategy we're doing is to kind of vertically integrate businesses that we own already. But as a holding company, you might want horizontal integration, right? You might own different businesses where you can cross-sell services. You can have one insurance policy, one shared benefit. So there's a lot of kind of upside in putting those companies together under one roof.
You know, what's interesting is the reason companies go public is really twofold. Actually threefold. They want to, sometimes on an IPO, they want to ring the bell. They want to get some cash in the business. But mainly it's for access to capital and for using stock for currency for acquisitions. Meaning that instead of paying cash for an upcoming business or something that you see value in, you can use stock for currency as part of the deal. Once you make that deal, okay, most CEOs are going to go in there and say hello to their best clients in the new company. They're going to cut the fat, and they're going to try to integrate. What's your strategy when you see something because I know this is what you do. I mean, this is your secret sauce.
Yeah, look, it varies business to business, right? I think at the end of the day, yes, you're right. We're using public currency to make those acquisitions, mostly because we believe there's great businesses out there that kind of adding them together with us is going to create more value for them in the long run because hopefully our stock goes up, and so they're trading kind of their equity for stock in what we're doing. And then
so they're believing in you as much as you're believing in them?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely that's there.
I think one of the things we have to talk about is the pipeline before we get to the granular about what you guys do, because I want to spend a couple segments with you today on that. When you look at, I'm sure you got guys calling every day about, you know, I mean, you're like a venture firm basically. People are pitching you all the time. What are the key metrics? I mean, what are the no sale type deals and no way? What are the ones that? What's the unicorn?
Look, the simple thing is you want businesses that don't want to sell, right? Somebody maybe who's trying to sell, right, is kind of being shopped all around the block and they're looking for their path out. Ideally, you're trying to find businesses that don't need to sell or don't want to sell, right? You want to be able to find that opportunity, that business that's doing a good job running their own company, and where we say, hey, look, we think there's something special about what they do. It aligns with what our focus is, and we think by adding them to our business, we're going to grow, right? And that's really the idea. Everything's about growth for us, and being able to kind of find those right unbanked kind of diamonds in the rough, and being able to make strategic acquisitions to bring them into our fold to help grow the business.
Metrics for looking at the businesces, is it a management focus? Is it a revenue focus? Is it a non-debt focus? Is it all the above?
It's an EBITDA focus. So
explain
income,
that.
You know, money that the company has left over, right? We take revenue, get rid of expenses, how much money is left over at the end of the day. We're really focused on kind of small to medium-sized businesses doing about $1 to $5 million in EBITDA. So they have to be cash flow positive. We're not just buying businesses for the sake of a hope and a pipe dream, right? That's the kind of first and foremost thing that we look at. And then we look at, okay, what does it look like when we take that business and put it into our infrastructure? Are there additional cost savings? Is there overlap? Is there growth in clients, cross-selling, all those other things that might exist?
As a CEO, and I'll let Mike and Mary get at you in a second here, but as a CEO, and I run a venture fund and a hedge fund and have probably raised $650 million in my personal career for companies. I never understood to this day, as a guy that's been in this business for 35 years, why in the world would you use EBITDA when taxes and interest are real expenses? And it doesn't really give you the picture of what money's left over at the end of the day. And I ask every CEO this. I've asked Larry Ellison this. I've asked Steve Forbes this. I've asked every guy, every captain of industry, the same thing. And is it the same reason why you don't care in a doctor's office? The doctor doesn't care if their scale's accurate. It's just a baseline to compare to. Is it sort of the same thing?
Look, I think the also other variance is EBITDA is unique to each business, right? What our maybe carry forward losses might be and how that might affect your stuff without getting too technical is going to be different business to business. There's, by the way, I'm not an accountant. There's all kinds of things that go into how you address that. So we choose that as a metric that's kind of a baseline that is unique to that business.
Which is a fair answer. I think Larry Ellison said the same thing. He says, look, it's just a comparator that everybody uses. It doesn't matter that interest and taxes are real expenses. Everybody's doing the same thing, so let's just use that as our baseline.
Claude Zdanow, the CEO of Onar Holding Corporation, ticker symbol is ONAR. Actually saw EBITDA on Broadway. It was awesome. How tough is it not to be laying there awake at night going, oh my God, we should be going after this, we should go after that? Do you have to keep the reins kind of pulled back a lot of the times, or is it?
Yeah,
how does that work?
I think that's a good, it's a good question. There's no shortage of opportunity, right? We probably look at 100 companies before we narrow that down to 25, or then we narrow that down to 5 that we hopefully maybe can get down to 1, right?
Okay.
That is literally the volume. So it's really, it's making an investment, a bet on which company is going to be the most accretive for us in the long run. And that's, I think, the harder thing. It's not finding the companies, it's really just trying to sort through them.
And you focus on healthcare and also digital marketing?
Yes.
Okay.
So those are our 2 core verticals. We also have a third vertical, which is what we call experiential marketing, which is really how brands come to life in the physical space. It's a small part of our business. But really the tip of the spear, if you will, is our digital marketing business. So simply said, how does somebody get an advertisement anywhere you might see it online in the digital space?
What's interesting is I want to talk about the labs and the marketing technology when we come back from the break. Are you more passionate about the healthcare side, or are you more passionate about the digital marketing side, or are they all the same? It's like choosing a favorite kid.
Look, I think at the end of the day, every business we own is about how do we drive revenue for middle market companies, right? So there's different expertise, but at the end of the day, it's data and return on investment, and how are we using technology to drive that, right? So for me, the sector specificity isn't so important. It's really, does this business actually drive for the clients we work with?
Yeah. His name?
Claude Zdanow, CEO.
Like I said.
Onar Holding Corporation. Lots more to come with this gentleman.
Do not leave. You're staying here. We got to talk about
He's staying here at the bar. Keep it right here on the Big Biz Show. We'll be right back.